All right, everybody. Um, the past couple of days been working on a previous session, and I just needed to loosen up. We're just going to do some free sketching tonight, maybe some comic book stuff. So, if you have any questions, hey there, I'm going to put that in the text. Shoot me a question. A question. Hope you all are doing good tonight. Exclamation point. All right, so if you have any questions, this is just a free for all jam, and hope you guys are doing good. Um, I need to adjust that. That's huge, but I just kind of wanted to do some sketching and just some, kind of like comic book style, I should say. So I've been wanting to do that, and I hope everybody's doing good. And man, Tim Curry and now we have Dolly Parton that have passed away. And part of me wants to draw those, but I just don't have it in me. I just need something a little bit more. I would have to focus too much on the likeness, and just too much to do right now. So I figured I said I need to work on my comic book style. So that's kind of what we're gonna do today, in just some free form a little bit. Hey, Fedora Hat guy, good to see you again. So we're gonna do kind of more of a comic book style, and I'm doing a 8K resolution. I like the letterbox, and I've been meaning to get, I've been meaning to get, is it Sean Murphy's Last Driver? He's got this comic book out, and as I talked about it last night, I was talking about doing a comic book, and I want to do letterbox, and lo and behold, he's done letterbox. He's basically the comic book is sideways, and I think that's brilliant. And it's like, yes, there needs to be more people to do that, because I think there's something about that when you're doing that letterbox style that gets you in the mood for a movie. I mean, I like comic books, but I've always been a fan of comics that do the letterbox style. Obviously, he's not the first, and won't be the last, but when comic books do that, there's something about it that just, it's awesome. So this is the one time where, when you're doing the comic books that in this comic book style, you don't really do the rough end style. You the black method, like I had been talking about before. This is where you kind of gotta know some stuff. And so I'll see if you guys can kind of guess the card that I'm drawing. Yeah. Um, yeah, I've never seen Rocky Horror Picture Show. And I think I have to, and I want to see. I've been holding off to see his performance in it, because I'm listening to it, the audiobook, and I really did not want to spoil it. So I was aware that he did it and played the clown, and I know people that have been traumatized by that movie, let alone the book. I haven't, but I'm reading the book, and I think I like the book. It's long. It's like The Stand. When I listened to The Stand, I did a road trip to Appalachia, and then road trip out to Massachusetts, and and then all the way back. And I still didn't finish the book. And I was listening to it while I was painting at a painting competition. And so yeah, um, I did not finish that book. So it is taking a bit. That rhymes unintentionally. No pun intended. So Yeah. Uh, so apparently, Tim Curry and Dolly Parton have passed. Kevin McAllister's mom, the actress, she passed this year. Apparently, the lady who played the pigeon lady also passed this year. Um, so that's three people from Home Alone 2 that have passed this year, if I know. So that's sad. So all right, so let's see what we're gonna do here. To I always like to mark in the wheel wells a little bit to kind of before I do the wheels, and that's something that I think that I've kind of done lately because I think it's helped me kind of true to the shape of the car versus getting stuck into the tires and then trying to get the wheel wells to fit the tires. So, and my solo show is going to have one of my several of my car paintings. I'll have a Firebird in there. I think it's a '73 Trans Am Firebird. I have a '63 Pontiac in there, and so I have quite a few. Um, I have quite a few cars that are going to be in. I can't think of. I don't think I have any other cars in there, but I'm working on it. As I showed you guys the small painting I did the other day. Femgully. Okay, so yeah, he's. Oh wow. Yeah. I liked his every movie that I've seen him in, which isn't much. I'm afraid to say that, but yeah, isn't much. But every movie that I've seen him in, I've been really impressed with Tim Curry's performance. And I remember hearing an interview with him on Fresh Air, and I thought that was really insightful. So maybe when I slow down a little bit, I'll get to watch. Why is that not working? Um, there we go. Procreate's had some kind of weird things happen lately, and so yeah, we'll get that there. And but yeah, I've always been impressed, and I liked his interview. And I didn't know that the Rocky Horror Picture Show, kind of really kind of set him off on his career. And oh, I'm a car guy. Yeah, I am a car guy. So yeah, I am a car. So Fedora Hat asked if I'm a car guy. Yes, I am a car guy. And my ultimate car, if I were to, my ultimate dream car, which I'm hoping to get at some point in time soon, like in the next couple years, if I can have some good years selling some work, is a 78 or 77, and heck, I'll even take a later a 79 or 80, or even at the very least an 81 Trans Am, Pontiac Trans Am. And but if I wouldn't be opposed against the 71 or 73 or 72. And if I got the 74, 75, or 76, I didn't like the nose on that, but if I had to get those, I would definitely change the nose on that. And I wouldn't get like one of those mint cars. It would have to be something that I could then, I wouldn't feel so bad about modifying. It would have to be kind of like something that, wasn't in the greatest condition. So, because I've been on the forums researching, and I've heard from a lot of those guys that once you start modifying a car that had, mint potential, if you will, show car quality, they all get their panties in a bunch about it. And I don't think I could just deal with that. That's just too much drama. Okay, I have to make some changes to this hood. It's not quite right. We need to drop this back. So this is where I'm going to play around. We're going to see if we can squash this a little bit. I don't think that's quite right. Yeah, that seems to be it. And I used to be adverse about doing the whole transforming thing until I saw, um, oh, geez, this one artist who I really admire. And I saw the way he was doing it, and he just does some Mike Valley brain fart there a minute. And I was like, oh gosh, I can't believe I don't remember. Yeah, Mike Valley does this all the time. And when I saw the way he was applying it, and he's got the drawing chops, and I was like, okay, well, if Mike Valley's doing this, and everybody still recognizes him for an amazing talent and not giving him shade for transforming, then I guess I was thinking I was too much of a purist. Sometimes we get a little bit of our head. It's not. I mean, you're still drawing it. You drew it. You're just transforming it. So I just got, I think, a little bit too far into my head about like being a purist. Well, I drew it, so But yeah, transform, distort tool. That's all good. And because I mean, at the end of the day, you know, we're artists. We need to get our vision out, and it's still part of the process. She still did the hard work of drawing it. So, and I'm gonna see if I can get this right here. Trying to work with this positive negative space to help me get the right proportions on this, and it's still not right. It's getting there. I used to draw cars as a kid all the time, and I look back at them and they weren't very good, very basic. I mean, like my Dukes of Hazzard cars were pretty sad, and same thing for the Cannonball Run Trans Ams. They were from the movie Cannonball Run. They were all pretty sad. Okay, let's see what I can do here. No, this is not. Uh-uh. No, it's got to come out more. So, all right, so we're going to try. Let's do this. We're going to do this. We're going to bring this out a little bit. And let's do, yeah, distort. But we're going to do warp a little bit. Um, and I would rather at least get most of it right. And then I just have to redraw some stuff if I need to. I'm exaggerating a little bit here. I think because the lenses from the photo reference I'm using is distorted. All right, Fedora guy, have a great night. Thanks for chiming in. Hope you have an awesome night. All right, so let's see here. There, that's feeling a little bit better. We're going to put the shadow out here. And I'm going to redraw this. we're going to transform this a little bit. We're going to make it, we're going to go back to a uniform and bring it down just a little bit. There. So I can kind of make sure that I get what I'm looking for. All right, let's see what's going on here. We're gonna I like drawing these really unique cars, and I found this one, picture of this one, and I was like, wow, this is a really dope car. I could almost make this the Batmobile. That's how cool this is. Like if I was to do a Batmobile, I would use this car. And we're just gonna try to get as best as we can on this. There's the plate. So, and if you're just joining me, I'm just doing a freeform comic book sketch here of a really unique car. I'm gonna try and add a figure to it as well. So, just wanted to kind of get some quick sketch. And with everything else going on, I just haven't had a chance to have a moment to breathe. So I said, let's just do something fun. And so that's what I'm doing. This is what I would do if I just had some free time and time to kill. All right, I need to remove this line. This line is so off. And then mm-hmm. And then we're going to do, okay, so this here has to go lower. All right. See if I can get the lines on this right. This needs to come up a little bit higher. And this has got to be more narrower. There we go. And we actually need to tweak this a little bit, so we're going to do that there. Let's get that line in there because I think that there, and then it goes straight there. That helps a little bit, and then we'll do the doot 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 doot. Yeah, there we go. So let's make some modifications. This has to come down here. Yeah, there we go. And this is what's so cool about some of these cars. They just have such subtle beautiful lines that you don't really notice. You really don't notice. And when you do notice them, you're like, wow. And I'm always amazed about the car designers and how they must have shaped these. I mean, these are like sculptures, in my opinion. But that's just me. Maybe I'm being a little bit there. I mean, just to shape these cars and to have so much style. Ah, love it. I would be totally fine if I had this car and got to drive it around. I totally would be like, yeah. I might even go to I might even go to put like the Batman symbol on there. Yeah, I think I wouldn't be past doing that. That's just something that I would do. I just know that, like, just to make it cool. Yeah, just very aggressive styling on this, and you could just tell the '70s. It just such. I mean, this is such a unique grill. I don't think I've ever seen a car with like this. I just no. I've never seen anything with this like magnitude of style, and it's definitely screams like '70s. So gotta clean up the grill here. Try to make that. All right. Let's see here. Hmm. And this has to come out a little bit. Took a little bit too much off the edge. There. Yeah. It's got to come down a little bit too, so we're going to work on that. There. Then I got to clean up here. And it's got to be more of a smoother entrance, or grill, I should say. Yeah, there we go. It's getting there. Let's erase this line here. And this is why I know some people have asked me in the past, do you use any kind of like surface on your iPad? No, I don't. I like the gliding of the pencil on the glass of the iPad. I'm just used to it, and yeah, so that's just me. Just trying to figure out where I can add those lines and remove some of those lines here. Okay. Yeah. Whoever designed this car, man, they deserve like some kind of a design award. I love it. I know some people probably say, "Oh, yuck," but I'm so digging this design. I just think it is dope. I mean, it really screams like a 70s Batmobile. Like I could put a bat on here. Yeah, totally. Totally do that. See if I can round that out a little bit. All right. So let's see how we're doing here. Yeah, it's getting there. Need to tweak some more. And let's see here. I need to bring this part over here and clear out this a little bit. There's so much nuance to getting a car to feel right. And I think that's what I like about a lot of these old school illustrators. You know, they just, I don't know if they trace the car, photo of the car, but uh, it just seems like they nailed it, but they nailed it with style. So I think this really just comes down to, you know, having that drawing ability, drawing ability, great composition. You know, you understand the stance of a car, the feel of it. I know that sounds crazy, but yeah, really good cars just have, you know, just fantastic style. There's style. You can't escape it. It just oozes style. At least all the good cars that I like ooze style. It I don't know. I think it's also, you know, the way that when it has a great style, when it's just on the road and you compare it to the other cars on the road, it just has an aggressive stance. All right, let's see if we can add. Okay, I think I'm close. No, a little bit less. That's the thing is that when you're drawing these, you got to get the lines right to capture the essence of the car, because the true fans of the car, the ones that own the car, they're going to call you out on it. So if you don't have it right, you're going to get called out on it. I saw this lady this summer, and she had a 63 Ford Galaxy. And I asked her, I was in the grocery store, and I saw her. She's so cool, this lady, elderly lady, but she like, even her hair was like, you know, the whole 60s. And I said, "Oh, I love your car." And so what, you know, I said, "Is that like a 63 Galaxy?" He goes, "Yeah, you know your cars. That's a 63 Galaxy." And I was like, "Wow." I said, "That's a beautiful car." When style was it, you know, style was appreciated. I feel like I need to have a little bit more on that roof height. And I feel like if I don't just draw it, it's just not going to come out. So I'm going to have to chisel more. Just go and keep raising it just a little bit more, a little bit higher. so I get it right. And I feel like that. My, I'm stuck between the height and trying to get the right feel of the a wide a wide dash. And I'm just looking, trying to put measure marks to see if like where I'm off, or at least where it feels off for me. And I can be very picky about this too. So if I don't get it right, then it doesn't feel right to me. Oh, I see. Okay, so this part here has to go higher. Sometimes it just hits you over the head, and you're like, "Oh, now I see." And once you get it, then you're like, "Captain Obvious. How come you couldn't see that before?" It happens to me sometimes. I was like, I can't believe I didn't see it before. But there's always something about when you're drawing a car, you're really kind of copying another artist's style, a vision. Because these cars were, back in the day, they were other artists. This is an artist. I feel strongly about this word. An artist created this vehicle and put style into it. And what you're looking at is style. You're looking at someone's vision. There. And then I'll tweak this part here. Mm-hmm. Let's go ahead and and just trying to get the right feel for this. Let's get this line out. Clean up the edges here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's looking fun. And just clean this up a little bit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's looking fun. Aggressive, if you will. Let's see what we can do about here. And we're going to clean this up there. And so if you're watching this later on and you have a question, just put it in the comments. I'll be sure to check it out later and get back to you on that. Fedora Hat Guy had some really good questions. I'm going to push this back in a little bit. And then, here we go. Yeah, sometimes those details of those little details of getting things certain things right really kind of help pull out what you're attempting to get. I'm gonna reduce the dash just a little bit. I think it was too much on that. And then that steering wheel. Let's go ahead and get that steering wheel in. And hey, found at midnight. Welcome. How hot is it in Arizona? I saw the Cubs were playing against the Diamondbacks and they lost 2-0. Yeah, so yeah, I'm doing. I just needed something to kind of like zone out on after doing my other illustration. So this is just kind of a comic book style car. 111 Fahrenheit. Woo! I think I heard on the news about that today. How hot it was. Gosh. I guess you could fry an egg out on the street with a cast iron skillet. I've seen that done around here. But it's not that hot today. So, but yeah. Arizona is probably just that dry heat that you just can't seem to get away from. Whew, I hope you got some good AC, my friend. Some good AC. Oh, and this has got that really cool thing here. And so I'm drawing this this vintage 70s car that really could be like a modern Batmobile, at least in my opinion. And I might later on try to see what I could do with that, but right now I'm just trying to stick true to the car. That tire dips down a little bit below here. There. And yeah, there we go. That's kind of looking fun. And let's go ahead and tweak the car tire out a little bit more. I think I gotta adjust that wheel well. Yeah, that's better. Needs to be a thicker tire. There. One of the things that I love about, I'm just gonna say, I love these like lines where you don't need to connect. I love the anchors that kind of like will put stuff and they won't finish it. And some people will do this and like connect it, but I love those anchors that will make that thing disappear and that thick and thin and just like make it, make you connect the dots. I love that. And I know a lot of the classic illustrators from back in the day, they would do that a lot. And so we're just going to put there and put maybe a little bit of race lines on. I don't know. That might be too much. Let's see here. Yeah, that's a little too much. We're going to erase that. And I'm just going to figure out how to make that work. Yeah. Let's see if we can kind of, yeah, put a little bit of the, that's too much there. We need to, yeah, there we go. That looks good. Now we're starting to get some good dynamics. I gotta put the car handle on. Whew, yeah, it is hot. 111 degrees. Wow, that's bananas. I don't know how. Yeah, that's definitely bananas. Let's see if I can tweak that a little bit there. And then this has got to come down a little bit. So that's the one thing about cars. They're like boats. You got to get the lines right. Because if you don't get the lines right, then it doesn't read right. And of course, this is done with one of the wide angle lens. So the camera, I'm sure it had a wide angle lens on it. So, pardon me, I'm sure that's probably part of the trouble with trying to get accuracy in lines, because when the car is distorted, that makes just a little bit more tricky to get. So try to stylize the there we go. It's coming along. I'm digging where we're at, but I have more to do. I can see that things are off a little bit, so we're gonna make some corrections. See if I can get that. That's feeling a little bit better. And then this comes in a little bit more. Yeah. So yeah. I would definitely think this would be a dope car to drive. And I could totally see like the Batman logo and maybe kind of done up a little bit. And I'm just trying to see where I can add some details without overdoing it. No, that doesn't read well. Yeah, that's better. An interesting thing about these cars is that, especially the cars in the 70s, they really did not have very good like the molding pieces didn't necessarily match. Like I know with the Trans Ams, especially the second gens, there was all kinds of problems, but they still had great design. It was just, I think they were such in demand, they just really just cranked them out and did shortcuts. And I think that's where a lot of the design was still there, but we were right. the beginning of the end was near too. The ugly cars were coming. It was just a matter of time before uh, the ugly cars really started to roll out. And I'll be the first to tell you because my mom owned one. Was the Ford Maverick, and man, compared to a lot of the other cars that came out, the Ford Maverick was just such a dog of a design. And I know some people like the Chevelle, but I felt like the Chevelle and a lot of the designs there, they could have done a better design on the Chevelle. I think it had some potential, especially on the last versions of the Chevelle. I think the designs could have been so much better. Um, the Mustang by the end of the '70s, what what they did to the Mustang was just an absolute crime, especially in the early '80s. It was absolute crime what they did. There we go. Starting to look, yeah, starting to look fun. And if we get a little bit of weight on this, so we need to kind of pull that out there. And oh yeah, see, yeah, the Ford Galaxy. Like I said earlier, I don't know if you tuned in, but before that, but this summer I saw a lady with a '63 Ford Galaxy, and it was beautiful. And I followed her into the grocery store, and I said, "Ma'am, you have a beautiful Galaxy. Is that a '63?" And she goes, "Yeah, you know your cars." And it was just like it was like a vanilla white, and it had just great lines, just great lines, and those cars, you know, they don't make cars like they used to, and the I look at them as like showpieces. Uh, your cars were your personality. Now all the cars look the same. It's so boring. Such a lack of style. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of great cars out there that have good reliability, but man, they're just no style, no class, no personality. And nowadays, if you watch some of those car guy videos, these old school guys who like learned how to build cars in the late '60s and '70s, and you know, um, they're proud boomers, but they're like, yeah, my car's carbureted, but it doesn't have a computer, and I don't have to worry about, if I have a problem, I can fix it. And they're right. That ability to fix your car and not have to go to the dealer. And this is a fact. At my school, the automotive teacher told me that the Fiat has now proprietary engine diagnostic codes. You have to go and buy their equipment to properly diagnose the codes, or subscribe, or whatever it is. Like and this has been going on for over a decade now. Is John Deere, the new John Deere um, tractors? They don't want you to work on them, and the farmers are having to basically hack their John Deere's to work on them. I mean, they have to get into computer hacking, like basically back in the day when a lot of people would get pirate software to get past the codes of like Adobe before there was subscriptions, and they're having to resort to that. And having done a lot of these outdoor painting events, I can tell you, fact, most of the farmers, they have these old '60s and '50s tractors like the Fergie Magasins, uh, or was it Fergie? No, Ferguson Masons. Uh, yeah, yeah, with the new stuff, and they can't work on it, and the more I heard about this, and the more I, watching these videos, because I do want to have my dream car of a Trans Am, and the more I realize, it's like, you know what, I may be better off getting a Trans Am and learn, maybe not like the best, nothing meant, but learning how to build and work on it my own. And yes, I may have to wait to get parts, but you know, that empowerment, like, I was a BMXer, and man, once I learned how to fix my bike, I never took my bike to the bike shop, with the exception of, because it was just so involved and I didn't have time, but I had the money at that point, is like for them to respoke my rims. That was it. Because I mean, respoking rims, oh boy, that you really do need the right equipment for that, and it's time too. So that's about the only thing I would pay. I mean, I would never pay a bike shop to do my brakes. If I cracked the bike, I just took it to a welder and have him weld it back. But I never, I think I was like 15, 14 or 15 when I fully disassembled my bike all the way down to the bearings. And once I did that, it took a while, and there were some things I had to redo it. But once I could take my bike successfully apart, from cranks to the brakes to the head tube and gooseneck and forks, and then it's not really rocket science. It's just, it's just time. And once I could do that, I was like, I'm never going to a bike shop again. You know, I'll save my, and I started trading, me and my friends, we started trading parts, bike parts. And that's how I ended up with the bikes that I have now. Um, just getting the bike parts. And I remember I have two Hutch Trick Stars now. And I guess, if I were to rebuild them and put, the factory stuff back on, they'd probably be worth thousands of dollars. But I don't have any interest in that. I want to ride them. I don't want to have a. I see these guys, and they're my age, and they've re they've bought their dream bike, you know, whatever it was, a red line or something like that, and they don't even ride it. They just like bring it to these like parking lot meets, and it's it's just on a stand, and I just can't do it. It's like these guys with the cars. I've seen some of the car shows where these guys will bring their cars out, and it's on a trailer. They don't even drive it. And I find that's a shame. You're gonna have a classic car. You got to be able to enjoy it and drive it, because then that's part of the experience. I mean, if you're gonna put it on a trailer and never drive it, you might as well have it in a museum. But that's just me. Probably get some hate over that, but that's the thing about good design, is that it's you should be able to experience it, and part of that experience is driving it. Yeah, yeah. See, this would look like if Batman came out in like the late '70s or mid '70s. I could totally see this as the Batmobile. Um, let's see here. I gotta tweak a little bit of here. So so nobody's chimed in yet, um, but I'll just go ahead and say this is a Dodge Cornet. I think it's a 70. Let me see here. It's, yeah, 1970 Dodge Cornet 440. And I bet you this thing really took off the line. Probably steering is not so great. Or handling, but I mean, I'm sure it's a comfortable ride on the interstate. I was doing my research and listening to the guys who have these Trans Ams, and they're like, man, it's just a joy to drive on the interstate. Nice, smooth ride. Something about that. Oh, Chrysler Crossfire. Oh wow. I'd have to look that up. I can't picture it right now, but I can imagine that must have been a dope car. That must have been a really dope car. I've got to do some tweaking here. This still is not right. And yeah, we're just gonna remove this. The pitch on this needs to be changed. There. I think that's it. And then, yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's looking cool. No, now this has the this has the, what do they call that? I was watching a car show. This has the top, like the leather top, and they were saying these leather tops or vinyl tops that they were notorious for rusting underneath. But if I were Batman, I probably would not have that. Let's see if I can fix this. Yeah, there we go. That's looking pretty good. I'll have to look at Dodge Coronet to see if they, had a complete top to the car, or did it have a metal top, or did they do the classic black top on it? I know that my mom's Ford Maverick had that too, and the black top. And I don't know why they did that. Um, okay, so last made in 2008. Okay, yeah. They just don't make cars like they used to. I mean, I think some of the cars they do are really made well, or they perform well. Like, and the Toyotas for me. I have a FJ Cruiser, and unfortunately, it still has the computer in it and all that stuff. But um, I don't know if I'd want the. I had a Jeep Wrangler for years, and I don't know if I could deal with driving long distances in the old school Jeep Wranglers. I put some miles on that Wrangler. I know I put over 200,000 miles on it, but I've also put on over 200,000 miles on my. In fact, last night I hit 222,221. No, sorry, 22 miles. I had took a photo of it, and just like, yeah, so like, yeah, 22222. So yeah, here's my. I don't know if you guys can see my odometer there. That was my odometer last night, and I was like, oh, that's so awesome. So yeah, I'm getting my money's worth out of that FJ Cruiser. My first truck I had was a Toyota truck. Unfortunately, though, it was in Chicago, and it just was a rust bucket. Literally had uh, like holes this big in the floorboard, and man, I'm gonna tell you that even though I steel sheeted it, uh, the problem was that the muffler fell off on the way back on the drive home to Virginia. The muffler fell. Like once we're going down the mountain, and all I hear is and the muffler fell out, and it was the loudest drive. We had to drive an hour with that noise till we found a muffler shop, and then we're like, "What happened to the muffler?" Somewhere, somewhere on the interstate. Yeah, that was a fun trip. I would not want to repeat it. I think this has to be a little bit more beefier. So try to fix that up, fix it a little bit. Yeah, because it's pretty prominent. There we go. So back to what I was saying earlier. I'm probably going to go to the comic book shop. I'm going to get Sean Murphy's The Last Driver, and I think I love his work. I think he's awesome. He's one of the. I think he inks it too. So, and I think just his overall style is the jam, and just has a distinctive style that I really dig. And I got his graphic novel Punk Rock Jesus, and I think that was his first entry. I loved his Batman. I just think he's a wonderful inker, and I've tried to him and other great inkers try to take um, note as far as what communicates good ink. So, all right. Well, let's see. How are we doing on time right now? We're doing okay. It's 9:23. We should we put some tone? I want to put tone, but I think I'm not quite there. Something's not right. It's the roof. It's bugging me. I can't get it. Let me try to clean that up a little bit and see. I know I'm close. I know I'm close, but it just is not feeling right. And it feels like every time I get a little closer to it, I'm getting there, but it's not there. And I just noticed there's no side view mirrors on this particular one. I don't. What happened to the side view mirrors? It must have broke off, or this particular reference photo I'm using it. There's no side view mirrors, so I may go online later on and figure that out. And let's see if I can get some. Oh, nope, not there. Try to get those little bit of flow lines. Here we go. Get that door without drawing it. Is that right? No, that's not sitting right with me. Let's go and erase that. I feel like it's got to be. It's got to be further back because those doors were super wide. Yeah, I think that's more it. And it's funny how just a little bit, a scooch here and there, makes all the difference in the world. There. That feels better. Let's lose some of the line though because it's too. There. Good. Yeah. Let's try to lose that a little bit and then try to get that door handle. There. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. And just put a little bit more attention to detail. Almost there. What else am I missing? Oh, here. Probably have to clean that line up a little bit. Let's see if I can get it without. Let's see if I can clean that up just a little bit. Yeah. And then it goes here. There. I think, yeah, that's looking pretty good. Um, I know I can feel like I'm like being over on the cars, but yeah, I really like, you know, nailing them and getting it right. That wheel well on the back is not jiving. It's not. It's gotta come up higher. It's got a little bit of a shoot out there, and it curves in more. This is where it's kind of like unforgiving. You have to have the right just that right curve can make the difference, all the difference in the world. And defining the shape of your car. Hence why I try to spend as much time capturing the essence of it when I can. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good about it. Yeah, and it feels like right here. This feels like the Batmobile. It really does for me. I'm trying to see if I can get that chrome effect. Yeah. Let's see if I can tweak it a little bit there. Yeah, this definitely has that vintage car. Yeah, I love that stance. That's great. Let's see if I can tweak the headlights just a little bit more. Um, yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'm a stickler when it comes to cars and boats. Um, Especially, I've gone to these competitions and I see people paint boats and they look like they would, if they were real boats, they would sink. And I mean, they're great colorists. They really, they've got really good mood to it as well. But for the love of God, if their boat was to go into the water, it would sink. And I just, it's just a pet peeve of mine. So, probably some people could say I'm being a little bit too much of a stickler, but that's me. I'm entitled to it. It's like if somebody knew a Dodge Coronet, you know, they would want to know and look at this and say, "Oh yeah, that's a Dodge Coronet." And I think we're doing pretty good. And just got a little bit more attention to the rear there. All right. Now, and then there's this part here. I don't know. Mm, yeah, there we go. All right. I think I went pretty good. Um, I think I just need to tweak a little bit more. Mm. I want to get a shape right here. Maybe it just needs to come out a little bit more there. Yeah, there you go. I think that's it. All right. Um, so let's have some fun, and I'm going to switch up and we're going to try to put somebody in the scene. Mm. Let's knock down the opacity on this. And then we're going to lock it so I don't accidentally draw on top. And then we'll put another layer. That one's not going to work. All right, let's go back to the next one. All right. I don't know. All right, let's see if we can do this. All right, so I want her on the other side of the car. So. Mm-hmm. And we're gonna. Yeah, I like that position right there. Let's see if we can go with that. Let's switch. Yeah, I think I can make this work. I'm gonna see how we can do this. All right. Let's see if we can get this right. Ah! Let's see. I may need to go smaller on the brush, but we're just going to try to get the gist here, the attitude, the gesture. And let's carve out that neck a little bit. Mm-hmm. There we go. Clavicles here. And this is what I love about putting people in. Last night I talked about, putting people in the scene, and the same thing with the cars. Like, being able to put somebody there where the car is, and it just makes it feel like it, has presence. And I love those old car ads. So we're going to try to create our own in a comic book style. Let's try to see if we can get that attitude here. And let's see here how this is coming along. Of course, I may need to resize it, but we'll figure that out in a minute. Get around the shoulders, otherwise you'll end up looking like a dude. That's the thing about women. Women have soft curves, and if you don't get it right, you end up making them look masculine, and that's never good. I don't know. I don't like. I think we're gonna go white. Yeah, we're gonna go white for this tank top. I think that's the best. All right, so let's see here. Um, let's see. That feels about right so far. And then we'll see how we do on time. And as I said last night, I'm working on a comic, and so I wouldn't say it's a comic. Maybe I don't know. Maybe people. I don't know what it is. It's going to be an experiment, but at least this will be my bucket list of getting something done and saying that I actually did something versus said, "Oh yeah, I was going to do one, but I didn't want to be that. Um, I didn't want to be that person that talked about, oh, I was going to do this and that, and didn't follow through with it." I think we all know those people, and they have the best intention, but then they, yeah, this guy, she's got to be, she's, I don't know. We'll figure it out. This is not going to work here. We got to work that arm better. Once I get the right gesture, then I think I'll be good. Almost there. Too big. Must be small. Too obnoxious. Okay, there we go. And so we're going to do lighter. Oh, so heavy. Come on. All right. Well, I got my brush all the way up, so there we go. Cat obvious. Let's see. Yeah, not quite. Let's see if we can get that. I want big earrings, but I don't want them to be so heavy-handed. There. There. I don't know if I just need one line there. And that's the one thing I learned about. It took me a while to learn, but sometimes less is more. And especially with women's faces and the lines, you put too many lines in there and they make them look older. And that's not necessarily what you want. And it took me forever in college. I always was a detail freak, and I just wasn't listening to my friends that were trying to help me. I said, "Yeah, she looks older." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, they were right, and I just didn't understand. Yeah, I just didn't understand. I wasn't listening. They were really trying to be true friends and tell me, and I would get mad because I just couldn't figure it out. Such an idiot. Such an idiot. So now we're going to try to make this right here. Yeah, that's looking, I don't know, it's looking good so far. I'm digging it. Needs some work, but let's see what we can do. No, not quite. Oh, let's take a little bit off there. Take some off there. And I need more of a slope here. And if I could only get back to figure drawing group, I think I would have an easier time. And, yeah. So we're going to try to try to not. I don't know. I think yeah, less is more. Try to. there, but it's not there, and we know that. All right, let's duplicate. We'll turn one off. Let's go to because of the head there. Maybe I was just too. Maybe make it smaller. Let's try that. I think that might be better. And then we're going to do the shadow. And then we're going to I think we may need to transform that shadow. Let's go and put a little bit of a loop on that and see if about transforming it. Let's try to distort. And then we'll just erase here. I don't know. I think that shadow needs to move. Let's bring it down. Because I think that shadow is really going to help define her position. Let's try that and see. Yeah, I think that might work. What do you guys think? Let's pull this one back up. We'll unlock it and unlock and then 100%. Now, how does that feel? Let's lock it again so I don't accidentally I got a lot of stray stuff. Ooh. Not quite. Come on. And yeah, sometimes you just gotta go with what you think is gonna read better. There we go. Let's see if we can put another earring. Ooh, way too big. Yeah, I think that's getting there. It needs a little bit more oomph. There we go. And then, of course, we need to put a little bit of a shadow here. And I think that's hopefully what will help sell the dimensions. Maybe have some lost edges there. Oh, I know what's going on here. Her elbow's going way too low, and it needs to be higher up. That's what's going on here. That's gotta come. And I feel like here the problem is that two arms down, one's not good. So I'm going to make the executive decision to put the arm out, and I'm just going to have to wing it from imagination. So let's do that. So we're going to abandon ship here. Let's get rid of all this. Because it ain't working. It ain't working. Let's see if I can make it work. Yeah, hand on hip. That's right. That's what we're going to try to do. Give attitude. Because, I don't know. It doesn't quite look right, but we'll, you know, we'll see. Yeah, that's what we're going to for. We're going to go for the hand on the hip. And I'm just, and I know that is not right. Ah! All right, let's figure this out and see if we can ape it a little bit. We'll just try to. If this doesn't work, then we're gonna just. There, that worked. But she just, I feel like her hips need to come higher. Like maybe she needs to come up higher. That's really what I'm thinking. So she's too low, but I mean, these cars were big though. Maybe just a little bit higher. Yeah, I think we're just gonna make it up a little bit higher. Yeah, I think that's it. And, and then, oh, elbow should be more behind. Um, it maybe, maybe. Oh, I like the idea of like the left hand in the pocket and the hip, but so if it's behind, let's create a new layer just to put it there just to see what happens. If no, I like it out. Let's zap that layer, but you don't know till you try. And I think we still need to work that elbow a little bit in the hand. Um, Away from the viewer. Um, I know what you're saying, like more of like here and here, but I just don't. I don't know if it's gonna read like like if I'm like standing up and I'm like here, it doesn't really, or actually I said I'm here, it doesn't really read because of her shoulder, but like here, and then she's here, and then hands in the pocket. That's the thing. See, sometimes I like to get into the pose and just like to, so like, I'm like, let's hear. So here, yeah. And then so here, and then out. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay. But but the shoulder, I think that's a problem. Is we're having a problem with the shoulders not reading right here. So we've got to get that shoulder to read. And this is the thing about drawing women. It's so hard because the tricep, that tricep, you don't want to overdo it. And then we've got that's a tricky thing, especially when you're drawing from imagination. Um, you end up you end up seeing or doing things you think you're right, and then when you that's why I like to put myself in the position because I'm like, oh, that's let me not actually read the way I thought it would. And I think this is why a lot of yeah, that's not quite right. I think this is why a lot of famous comic book artists get so much grief because when they do stuff like that, they do work from imagination. And I've heard of, I think somebody mentioned like the Rob Liefeld, uh, two left feet. But these guys are under tight deadlines, and you know, um, it's not easy, and you know, and they probably don't notice it till after it's published, and like I can only imagine, like, oh my god, you'll forever be known as drawing two left feet. I don't know if he ever did that really, but that's what I've heard people say is that yeah, Liefeld drew two left feet. Um, Maybe he did. Um, and then let's try to clean this up. Yeah, that is not right. He's got to have that shadow there. I think that's about as good as I'm going to get it for now without killing myself too much over it. But there. Let's try to put some bracelets on. And then we'll try to smooth that out a little bit. And then we're going to try to fix the belt and smooth it out a little bit. Try to give it like a big stylish belt buckle. And then try to do that and see how that works. I don't know. And then give a little bit of a shadow to the t-shirt. Give it a little bit of weight. And sometimes, just giving a little bit of weight to how fingers are. No, it's too much of a shadow. There. There. And then maybe we can get away with putting that back. No. We're going to. And sometimes the gesture really just comes off better, anyways. Yeah, no, it's not quite right, so. There. I think that's good. Um, but that line right here is no longer good. We have to rely on and then have this disappear here because I want it to be a white tank top. There. All right, so let's go to the jeans. We really have eaten up some time here. And so let's there. There. I think we're getting there. I'm probably being a little bit more pickier than I should be, but you know. Okay. Not too bad. Not too bad. Um I'm sure if this was like a paying client, I probably would have to do more, but let's all right. All right, so we went from this is why I like to duplicate, see if I had the best, the initial gesture. Oh, yeah, no, nope, yes. See here and there. Yeah, so you need to be higher up. And that shadow now needs to read a little bit better. So we're going to, yeah, I think that's good for now. So let's throw some color into this for just fun real quick. So, and I want to put a little bit of a tone on it first. So let's go and we're going to throw a little bit of a tone on it. So fill layer. There we go. And then we'll lock that layer and then I'll color on top and then I'm going to probably ditch it below. So we'll go here. What color? Oh, this color was a cool orange. So let's do this. Yeah. We're going to yeah, that's dope. Yeah, this is kind of dope. I'm digging this here. I could do a black top, but I don't know. I'm thinking I like the orange part because it reminds me of a Dodge Charger. Although, it has that more that Dodge feel. Yeah, this is cool. I'm digging this here. And I'll probably add some distress to it as well later on. But I've figured I said, well, we did effort here for the ink, at least the base ink. We can always revert back, but let's just throw. And this is why I like the glass. I don't like the texture because it just glides so much better. Let me go back to that coronet now. Is it coronet? Yeah, coronet. Yeah. Let's go back. Which one are you? That one. There we go. And let's see here. Yeah, this is looking pretty good. And then we're going to go and we'll put a little bit of a blue. Put the grill in there. And a little bit blue there. Yeah. Then we'll go with a lighter. There we go. Oops. This is the fun. This is definitely some fun parts for me. Mm-hmm. And this is darker too, so yeah, there we go. Yeah, that orange really just it was a definite it was the right move. I'm gonna try the green on the in dash. I don't know if that'll be good or not. I think it will be. And then we'll do a lighter green, or maybe we should do blue because there's this, you know. And then we're going to go back with the darker green back here because we know we do both double up on glass, it gets darker. So there. Whoop. Not quite. Let's undo there. More of like that, I think. Yeah. I think we're just going to go and yeah. There we go. It's looking dope. Looking dope. And then we'll go back over here, put some blue. Oh, can't get that. This is going to be a little bit harder, so. And then go to the orange here, I guess, really. Yeah, there we go. And we'll go to the eraser. We're going to go back and put that line here. Oh, I got to see if I can get it to. Yeah, there we go. And let's go to orange and let's push it to the gray here, and then we can then do this. Whoa, come back. All right, there we go. We're gonna see if that helps a little bit. Should be more blue, but that's all right. Kind of give. And then we'll see if we can pitch it to the blue, or at least make it think that it's blue. We'll try the We'll try this first. Because, yeah. And then ah, arms falling asleep. And then we'll kind of come over here. And we're going to go and do a highlight on this side. And then it goes a little bit cooler, so I don't know if I'm doing it right or not, but we'll just give it a shot to see what happens. Yeah, and then we'll go back here and push it back. Whoa, that's not what I wanted. Push those lines, yeah. And then we'll yeah, there we go. And then we'll come back and get this color here. And then we're going to go with a darker orange. Let's push that back down here. Let's go a little bit more gray. I'm probably going a little bit to the extreme, but let's see here. Let's see about this part here. And then over here. And then there's a little bit here. Yeah, it's coming. And then we've really got some parts here. Oh, come on. See if I can carry that over to here. Yeah. This really needs to be that grayer over, part gray over here, so we'll see if we can figure that out. Yeah, that's looking pretty dope. Getting there. And then yeah, so this is coming nice. And then that license plate needs to be throttled back, so let's put that in the brown. Yeah. Then we got to get the tires, so we're going to go with the blue. Oh, too much. And then we'll go with a, try to go purple but lighter and see if that jives. I probably went too much here. I'm going to leave it for now. Just because I like purple, so. We'll grab some of that blue. Ah, it went black. You turkey butt. All right, there we go. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm. All right, we're gonna go with a little bit of a. Go back to orange here and. Yeah, so it's coming along. Mm. Helps a little bit with the chrome part here. Yeah, it's coming along. No, that's too much. Leave the license plate the way it was. Um, and we just need to go a little bit darker orange here. Oh no. Try that again. Let's try a richer. Maybe that's it. And then we'll do the same thing here. So. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to go darker here. No, it needs to go richer, not darker. Let's go back here and try that. I was wrong. I was wrong. Let's see if that's better. I mean, let's see if we can kind of. Let's see if we can do here. So this is kind of fun. Let's see how this works. I think it needs to be a light blue here. Yeah, right there. And of course, we need to kind of maybe go with the eraser right here for some effects. Whoop. Stray finger mark. There we go. How's that looking? Pretty good. And let's see here. We have, yeah, like that. And then just trying to make some stuff here. So that's looking pretty good. I mean, there's obviously some tweaking going on, but let's go ahead and get to the girl. And let's just put on another layer just in case I decide to move her later. So. Yeah, that's looking good. And the cool thing about, lately is I've been printing out my digital paintings on these big canvases, and I think I like the size of them, but the canvas, uh, I may have to go with a maybe I should just go with metal. But the problem with metal is it's so fragile. All right. Well, thanks again for Found at Midnight for hanging out. I'll be posting this on the YouTube, I guess the post site, the final piece. So, but yeah, thanks for hanging out with me and the process and feedback. I really do appreciate that. And so yeah, this is coming out pretty cool. I'm digging it. I'm digging it. Let's give her some blue jeans as well. And then we'll go with some red. Well, and then we'll just do a little bit of erasing right there. And then we're going to do a little bit of blue here. Try to do that. See if that works. Yeah, I like that. And then that's the hard thing about like trying to do like high cheekbones and not overdo it. Let's go to blue. We're going to go dark blue. Let's go back to dark blue. Let's go to purple. I'm curious. Well, I like that. No, that's good right there. Just the purple. I could do the blue, but I think the purple is just gonna. That's got to come out. All right, let's try. Let's sample here. Let's run it a little bit darker. Let's try that. Yeah, there we go. We're gonna do the Ashley Wood effect. Mm-hmm. I think I've got to study how people put makeup on. Yeah, I really do. I think I need to go back. My wife has this book called Faces, and by this makeup artist, and I think I need to study that. I really do because I feel like I would really benefit from understanding. Come on. Oh, I've got it there. Nope, that does not work. There. Subtle is tough. I'm going to be first to tell you. Subtle is tough. Let's try here. Yeah. Mm-mm. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, that's fun. Wow, I've put 2 hours into this already. Wow, what happened with time? It's 10:30 already, so we're gonna 10:30 my time. Let's see here. Can we put? Let's put. Per, and let's go a little bit darker for maybe shade. I'm probably gonna overdo it, but let's try. That's not too bad. Ah, come on. I seem to lose control. Here we go. There we go. Okay, yeah. That was fun. I know I need to do more, but let's go back to the cornet here and I need to lighten it up just a little bit and put a little bit of highlights here. So I don't know. This is probably going too much. Yes. Let's see if I can just. Do some kind of like highlights of that. Oh, let's get that yellow light. Well, that's it. Yeah, yeah. It's more of like a rich yellow. See if we can get that. Oh, that's perfect. I love it when I get it right. And then let's. There's hardly anything here, so. And then let's go to here and drop just a little bit down. Oh, wrong one. Let's go to the girl. Yeah, there we go. How about that? I know I got to work on the car, the orange. I just feel like, I don't know. I really want to just throw the purple on there and then do the. Let's try that. We're going to put a new layer on top. And we're going to try to put maybe just fake a hood as the. It's not bad. It's not bad. Okay, I'm kind of sold on the top. Yeah, that did make it. Yeah. Okay. I do feel like I need to like do something with the tires. Let's go back to the tires here and just kind of do something with the tires to kind of make it. Yeah, just needed that. Hmm. And then we'll go with the purple, and then I'm gonna try like an outline or something just to kind of give this shadow feel, an edge. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Nope. I think we're good. Oh, there. Yeah. All right, guys. This is it right here. Um, let's see here. Let's. So there we are. Let's. I guess I'll sign it for now, even though I'm probably not done. Let's just go back there and sign the darn thing. So I'll put signature in case I want to move it. We'll go back to black. Um, too much. God, I can't seem to like do a signature. All right. Mm-mm. Sloppy, sloppy, sloppy. Mm-mm. There. And I probably let's. This is why I always do my signature, and we're just gonna move it over just a little bit there because I don't want it touching. There. Yeah. There we go. All right. So let's. Whoopsie. Let's see here. And if I go. There you go. Now it's to size. And let's do the time lapse replay before I peace out. So let's do time lapse replay just to kind of go over everything. And so I know if you've seen in some of my other videos where I do kind of like a block method here, you can see I kind of did the outline. I did use the transform, the distort, and the mesh warp to kind of get that effect that the fisheye I was getting from the source photo of the cornet. And once I got that, I think then I kind of got that right fisheye. So I spent a lot of time trying to get that aggressive stance of the car, and then playing around with trying to get the femme fatale in there to make it in there and look cool. So I think this is really fun, and I had a blast. And I used my brush is the like a script brush, and I modified it a little bit to be a little bit more smoother. And I like the shale brush, but I needed something a little bit different, and then you can see I knocked the opacity down, locked the layer, and then drew the girl, tried to get the gesture, and you know worked it out a little bit, changed some things. That arm had to come out. This just did not look right. So putting the attitude on there, trying to get the shadows, and things kind of look right there. So yeah, and the arm right there, and then raising her up higher a little bit, and just made it feel like then she would be sitting properly in the proportions. And then I threw a color base over top, just like a vanilla or a beige, and then um, underneath the ink layer. And then at that point I just start coloring in and having fun and trying to give this like a retro comic book feel. I'll probably do some distressing in another session if I have time to go live. So yeah, and then of course doing the sign. So yeah, this was a lot of fun. It's nice and relaxing to just do these like pulp style retro cars. This is such a cool car. I think I'll probably take this drawing, duplicate it, and I may try to see like re-envision how this Dodge Corvette would look as a like a 70s Batmobile. Instead of her, it would be Batman, or maybe I'll do Batgirl and I'll keep her pose. I don't know. Many possibilities. So thanks again for hanging out with me. I hope you guys have a great night. And I'm like I said, I've finally solved the whole streaming thing, so I should be doing a lot more streaming. It's just easier for me to do streaming than it is to try and edit this stuff. I have more fun. I don't really like editing, so and just share my process and just show from beginning to end. So thanks again for hanging out with me tonight, or if you're watching this later, drop a question to the comments. I'll be sure to answer it, and if I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. Also, if you'd like to see all of my artwork or not miss anything new, go to my website liquidmethod.com and subscribe to my newsletter. It drops every Friday. Until then, peace out.